We are up to today of Tzadik Aleph, Amid Aleph, and Bei Shvat. It is the final block of this Masechta. So we're making a scene of Nedarim. Tomorrow we begin the Masechta Nazir. Nazir, by the way, in some respects, it begins very similar to Masechta Nedarim. So you're not going to feel like you left Nedarim at all in the least not the beginning. No, that's talking Masechta Seit.
And so it says that
okay. Says the Gemara, we are up to about 7 lines in the top page. So we had a Mishnah Rishon and a Mishnah Achrein. The Mishnah Rishon said that we believe a woman if she comes forward and she receives a ksuba. If she comes forward and says that Timei Anilach, that and we're talking about the Gemara concluded talking about the wife of a Kohen, so therefore she's also to her husband, but she's still entitled to a ksuba. And she said that I was raped, of course. Then case number 2 was where she says that Hashamayim Beini Lebenecha. She says, that only heaven knows that it's not possible for us or for you to procreate because you don't have that capability. And again, she's believed. And then she says, I cannot have any relations with anybody. And again, we assume that there's something, medically wrong with her, her condition, and therefore she believes she was in a ksuba. That was the Mishnah Shani. The Mishnah Achrein said we stopped believing her, and and said because we suspect that she's using it as a ruse to get out of the marriage because she wants to marry somebody else, and she wants to receive a get. And we discussed yesterday at length about the fact that she claims that Shavi Nafshach Tichel Surah, but I can't live with you because it's Amasa to you and so on. One opinion I didn't tell you yesterday of one of the Rishonim is the Isser of, for example, a woman living with a man, like a Zayn living with a Kohen, falls on the man, not on the woman. Therefore, she has no problem. For her, she never was Shavi Chatzicha D'Isur because the Isser is for Kohen to live with a Zayn. This woman, even though she was forcibly raped, it wasn't her fault at all, classified as Zayn, and it's forbidden. It's only forbidden for him, not forbidden for her. Other Rishonim disagree. They say that once it becomes forbidden for him, automatically becomes forbidden for her as well. No, but the Torah says to Kohen, Kohen shouldn't marry this person. Kohen doesn't say anywhere that the Zoyner should not marry a Kohen. So we have Machlekes Rishonim right here. Oh, so we see the Mishnah true. What? This is on him. We can all those laws of a Kohen. Yeah, it's all about him that he shouldn't take this woman. Now, why isn't there a case of Zayiva? That's an interesting question. Those Rishonim that hold that she has no issues, and the reason is because he claims it's not a Aveira. He doesn't believe her. That's the whole point. He says there's no Aveda. We don't believe you. But what about her? From her perspective, there's an Aveda here. So we're saying from her perspective, there's no Aveda, but for her, it's not an Aveda. And that opens up a whole interesting debate about Lifnei Iver. What happens, for me, it's not an Aveda. For example, I eat Chalavakim and you don't. For me, it's not an Aveda. And for you, it is. Am I even Aveda if I put Chalavakim on the table and you go ahead and eat? And what does the question boil down to? Quite well down to what is the Avera Lifnei Iver? Is Lifnei Iver a separate, distinct Avera from the 613 mitzvahs? That I should not place stumbling block for another person. Doesn't matter for me, so it's a problem, a stumbling block or not. If for that other person is a stumbling block, I've committed a sin. What Avera have I done, Lifnei Iver? That's one perspective. The other perspective is no, whatever Avera you did, as if I did that Avera as well, because I caused you to do the Avera. So if I cause you to eat treif, as if I ate treif, because I gave you a helping hand in eating treif. But if for me it's not a problem, okay, so I have a helping hand with you. What did I do wrong? I eat chalvak, say. So that's an inspiration.
In front of a blind person, you shouldn't put something in front of a blind. It's not a mission for me. It's only
very good point. But the pasuk is literally talking about your stumbling blocks. So now we're extrapolating how we're good. How they understand if they learn the pasuk. Should nobody raise it, so maybe the most obvious questions usually are the best ones. Everybody assumes that's called a class kasha.
It's you in the face. You think, how could I think that way? How could I not see this?
Yeah. Okay, so now back to Gemara. So now we had a Mishnah Rishon, a Mishnah Achrein. The first part of the Mishnah, you do believe so, you don't believe her. I'm going to ask the following question. Bailu, instead of coming along and saying that Tamei Anilach, but rather Omra Lebaila, she says to the husband, Gid Ashtani, you divorced me. Mao, what's it then? So here we have a famous machlekes, and throughout Shas, whenever we bring this opinion of Luna, it comes from right here. This is the place of the machlekes. Interesting again. But you think that this is where the machlekes will be. You think it's getting. We actually had an exubus in second period, but nope. The machlekes is right here in the door. That is as follows. Amar Rav Huna says, I say, this is the rule. Oh, a person would not have the chutzpah to look someone in the face that knows you're lying and lie. If I said if she knows the husband knows he gave her again or not, but standing there in front of him, saying has to be in front of him that he divorced me, that you divorced me, chazaka ain't she won't be meiz, and therefore you believe her. You do believe her. We had the same thing about why if a person is cray for hakel, you say you owe me $100 and I'm a cray for hakel. So because ain't no the meiz. How can I look you in the eyes? No, you added something here. See, that's my clicks Rashi traces and Ksubas. You did me a favor. According to the traces, Rabbi did me a favor. The fact that you know that I am lying, I don't have the chutzpah to look you in the eyes and make such a white lie. The other opinion is, since you're my benefactor, I don't have the chutzpah looking you in the eye. And the nafkamini is by Benoit. If this person passes away and his son now comes to claim the money, would you have the chutzpah? If the word is because I'm the benefactor, son, I don't know. You're not my benefactor. I get easy to can lie. But the word is that if you know that it's a lie, I don't have the chutzpah, then it's different. Yeah. Come look at me. Toshma, come in here. I met her. She says to me, I'm telling you, I feel in the Mishnah, even the second Mishnah that says that we don't believe her, the Tani, why don't even the latter part of the Mishnah that says we don't believe the woman, she's a love, there's a reason for it. You know why? Because over there, what is she saying? We're saying she's concocting a story, but the husband has no idea if it's true or not true. How can somebody say, no, it never happened? How do you know? So therefore, she's not scared. She's quite comfortable in her skin, and she can lie. Husband and Meshaka, the other Bala she knows the husband doesn't know. Avo Gabagal Ashtani, if she alleges that the husband gave her a divorce, the Yadaba, he knows if she's telling the truth or not. Mehemna, then you believe her. The chazaka chazaka that a woman would not have the chutzpah to stare her husband in the face and make that lie. Okay, so Rabbi Huna has this chazaka. So the Gemara, Amar Lei. So the Rava disagrees. Rava says we don't believe her. Adra, not only according to the second part of the Mishnah, we don't believe her. Of course, we believe her here as well. But even the first part of the Mishnah, when she said, we believe her, but now when it comes to again, why not? Adra, I feel the Mishnah show that you know why the first part of the Mishnah says we believe her. Okay, the second part of the Mishnah says we give another explanation why she's making that story up. You know why I believe her? Because it's humiliating. She's standing over there. She's telling everybody that I was raped. I think it's a nice thing. It's quite humiliating. So if she's put herself in that situation and she's publicly telling us a story, obviously she's telling the truth. So there's a reason why we believe her. Not stop who we believe her. There's a reason why you believe her. Which person goes up there and publicly, shames herself? Over here, sometimes when it comes to a get, first of all, is there a stigma if somebody's divorced? No, especially today. But even then, it wasn't a stigma. People get that we had a number of Amoraim that were divorced, so people get divorced all the time. So there's no stigma there. And she's angry with her husband. Is meiza? What's the big deal? She has the chutzpah. So if you don't believe her, Rashi has one pshat. Tokula Mengabra. She's so what's the right word to use? Besotted by this third party that meiza. That gives her the strength to be chutzpah because she really wants to get out of here because she's besotted by this other person. She has a crush on this other person. Infatuated. So here now we have a machlekes between Rav Huna and Rav Huna. We believe her because chazaka she doesn't lie. She has no chutzpah. Even according to the second part of the Mishnah, in this case we believe her not like tmeni lach. If you don't know, it's no chutzpah. So they're all focusing on the first part of the Mishnah. And I don't say the other way around. We don't believe her. Why in the Mishnah we believe this case number one because it's humiliating. So Gemara is now going to ask from case number two, from the Mishnah Rishayna, which says we believe her. What is he saying? That you're not yoyde that you're not capable, even though we're having some intimacy, that it's not possible that you can procreate because there's no force there. And the Mishnah Rishayna says we believe her, and the Mishnah Rishayna says we don't believe her. Maybe it's a ruse. We're going to use now that case there. On the one hand, the husband knows. You would know whether he's able to use, force or not, pure force. So the husband, in a way, would know, and yet we say that we believe her. problem for Rabbi Nuna. And the second part is that it's not really humiliating. It's about the husband. What's the humiliation part? What's the humiliating her? And yet it says we don't believe her. Oh, we do believe her. Let's see. Says the Gemara. Okay, Mosir Mishash is going to ask a question to both of them. It says in the Mishnah Shamayim Beini Lebencha, the Mishnah, the first part of the Mishnah says we believe her, right? The first part of the Mishnah we believe her, and according to the other, why do we believe? Because she humiliated herself. Where's the humiliation from here? She used to the Rabba, Kacha Rabba. Hacha the less leksuva, l'chayda there's no shame. It's about him. Uktani the mehemna, and that's clearly we still believe her. Why do you believe her? Is that we just believe her, not because of humiliation. So it's a proof that we believe her, and surely we're going to believe her, which she has the chutzpah to like. So Rabbi holds Hasam there. When she says, "I have to leave my husband because we cannot procreate," they can say, "When we cannot procreate," so she has to spell it out. The spelling out is embarrassing. She felt that embarrassing was that she's putting it's about her, right? It's about her. She was raped. Here it's chassaron and him. Where's the humiliation? So we said no. Even just having to delineate and spell out and talk so grub and talk so grotesque and tell in detail what happened, that in itself is very embarrassing. Since it's embarrassing, that's not because it's not enough. If she doesn't explain herself, if it's not like the way she's saying it, she would never have said it. No, it's in the course of conversation. You never speak like that. You never talk about that's such an intimate detail. You would never talk about it publicly, and that in itself that she talks about publicly is humiliating, and therefore never says she believes. Not a question. Okay, it says I'm a shasha. Now I'm going to turn around to the end of the Mishnah. We don't believe her by Beini Mencha. He knows, and she has a chutzpah to look him in the eyes and says that you can, and yet the Mishnah you don't believe him. Hashemayim Beini Lebencha. The Mishnah the second part of Mishnah Kasham Nuna. But the Yoda he Ubaila Yoda, but she knows that she knows, but so the husband knows. He's the one who's there. Utani Delay Mehemna and says that she's not believed. Where's your chazaka that a woman doesn't have the chutzpah to lie when the person knows? Because Savra Avnuna holds no. Hachanam here true. He go for Amra. She herself thinks to herself, and he to be. Of course, he knows whether he can have intimate relations, but you think he knows if it's yodik or not. The yodik miyada. Does he know if it's yodik if it's able to function? And therefore, she doesn't think it's a chutzpah. That's why she feels easy to lie. But by a get, either he did or he didn't give a get. So therefore, over there she has a chutzpah. Now it doesn't matter that he might know, but in her mind she thinks he doesn't know. That's all that matters is what she thinks. It doesn't matter what's the poyol, the truth. Now there's big machlekes rishonim. So what happens now? First of all, does she get a ksuva? In this case, she says to the husband, "You divorced me." And we believe her. How far do we believe her? Do we believe he gets a ksuva or not? So most of because the ksuva is the imamnus. The imamnus have a rule. Maybe she has to prove that she was. Chazak alone is not enough. So many of the Rishonim say it depends. If she asks for the ksuva, she says, "I was raped, the wife of a kohen. We can't live together. Give my ksuva." That means she's after the money. She's after the money. The laws are different. You want to take money from him? Prove that you can't live together because he's happy to continue living with her, right? So, but if she's out, she's worried about her state of halacha by staying married to this person. She's look, I'm also to you, and because this is what happened. The consequence is a ksuba. Then she will get a ksuba. Some of the Shem says she doesn't get a ksuba, but even if she gets a ksuba, she does not get the toisefes ksuba because you don't give toisefes ksuba only out of love. Here the love just fell apart. So even though it's not her fault, it's falling apart. Then we have another machlekes. Does this enable her to marry another guy? Okay, we believe her that she can leave this kohen. She'll get a divorce. How far do we take it? Now another person is he living with a married woman or not a married woman? She's not a married woman anymore. Actually, she might still be a married woman. Where's the get? I mean, why doesn't she produce the get? She claimed that she lost it. So as far as we know, she's a married woman. We'll say to her, okay, she says, I'm divorced. I'm no longer with this guy. Okay, we trust you as far as that's concerned. Is that sufficient that she can go now marry another person altogether? Because there's no get here. Nobody saw it.
If she had a get, we wouldn't have this whole soft.
Yeah, exactly. So how far do we take it? Big machlekes are showing you there how far we take it. What happens if she went ahead and she's actually received kedusha? No, that's if she goes to us and asks this? How far do we take it? Right, with another big machlekes showing. And then if she stretched her hand out and took money from somebody else, that's like a step further. She's actually acting not on what she did so far is left the husband. Nothing. She didn't do anything wrong. Not evaded here. She just wanted to get out of the marriage, or she got out of the marriage. Now that she accepted the condition of another person, is that tantamount to her saying, "Look, this is 100% true," because she would do the Veda. So that's another layer of I guess, of proving her innocence or not.
Or is it snus?
Or she's playing the game. Another machlekes is showing him. Do we tell the husband to give her now a get? Since halachically we assume that she's a divorced woman, but in order for her to get married, she needs a document. Do we tell the husband, okay, now turn around and give her a get? Or no? The husband says, I never gave her a get, and I'm not giving her a get now. She claims she did, that's what.
Can you reproduce the second get?
If
If someone loses in a regular example, everyone agrees to have to reproduce
I guess what it's a piece of more be used more as a document as a proof.
what dates is used.
Date that she claims, or if she has one. But otherwise, it's just a document of proof rather than this is what divorce. According to the husband, this will be a bill divorce. So therefore, as far as the husband is concerned, right today's date. The main thing is we want to make sure that she's not mazana somebody and has mamzeh if she's lying. So give a get right now and monish. If she's telling the truth,
claim to be able to claim with someone.
so that goes back to the other machlekes, how far we take it. If the law is she doesn't have the ksuba, then it's not going to change here. This will be used as a raya. Okay. As far as she's concerned, this is just a document to prove that I was in a divorce. As far as he's concerned, this is a divorce. So many interesting.
It was like a receipt.
But it's written in the loss of a get because the husband she never received a get, and she'll do kabbalah to somebody else, and she happened to be lying. All kinds of problems. No, I'm saying is that exactly, but we don't. No, you want to get married again. You'll never get married again. If somebody was married once, you go today. Today, no Rav is going to marry you, hopefully, unless you have the Bezna has a record. Some better don't even give out the get. They just keep the get themselves.
Get it, spice it up.
Exactly.
But they normally give you a receipt.
And then have a copy of it in their what do you call it? Their register. Okay, let's continue. Says the Gemara further. Now we're talking about the belief of a woman. The woman, the choyim every day, the tashmish. After you have to wash negelvasser. After when you wake up in the morning, you have to wash your hands when you take a shower, and so on. So every time after the tashmish, this wife was very nice, and she would bring water to the husband to the bed to wash negelvasser. She would bring water to wash, and it says in the Shayim to wash to become tired. It was negelvasser. One day, she brought him water to wash his hands. I didn't know we had tashmish. What do you mean water for? This is wrong bedroom story. But this is interesting. This is talking about in the morning. So this is not either they didn't wash negelvasser in those days, so she only brought negelvasser when they had tashmish during the night, or this is the middle of the night or something, and she woke him up. She said, "Oh, I had tashmish last night. It wasn't you. It must have been a goy that happened to be lying in your bed. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. That was selling, what's that? I forget what it's called. That Eloy, what is it called? That the spice. The he was yesterday selling it. It must have been him. Sorry. In other words, she's an onus because she thought it was her husband. If it wasn't you last night in bed, it must have been him. And it was pitch black, and we weren't talking, so I thought it was him. I thought it was you. It turned out to be him. Rav Nachman said, we find it a little bit far-fetched. She's probably came up with this story. This is her scheme. That she this and that, and the husband doesn't know, and hopefully it's a possible must be talking about an Ashes coin here. And because this is an Inus. If it's an Ashes Yisrael, this would be an Inus. She thought it was a husband. So it'd be no issue. Must be talking about an H's kind over here, and now she's us, even though it's not her fault. And she's us at him, and we believe this is a ruse. And the question is whether even according to Mishnah Shreina, this is considered a ruse, or only according to the Mishnah Acharina, because this is a little bit, a bit far fetched. Even though we had
a man who went into a bedroom. And he didn't know in the morning was it
his wife or sister-in-law,
or his
wife or sister-in-law.
And he doesn't know.
We had better Yishai when Yishai that night when he thought it was a shivcha, turned out to be his wife, and she fell pregnant with double milk. And here you have a perfect case. He won in the wrong room, and it's pitch black. Obviously, they don't talk. It's sneeze. So therefore,
You don't say it's far-fetched. You don't say it's
it happened. It happened. Anyway, okay, let's continue. Ahit is another woman, the Lahava Bedicha died. One morning, she was very upset. Bahadagab with her husband. Amalei. Ahit today, you're always in a good mood. You're always, so effervescent. And today, you're so downcast. What's going on here? Amrullah, she said, we have tashmish all the time. And last night, or this morning, first time in my life, I had pain. I feel terrible. What's going on here? Is this a sign of old age, or what is going on here? Today. Amrullah, what are you talking about? We had tashmish this morning. Never had tashmish. Amrullah, so I did have tashmish. It wasn't you. These are these goyim who were selling the different, the havi hachi here yesterday. I don't know. These people used to say, these peddlers, all these women used to give them a bed in the house.
He's having all day.
That could also be. And Nachman says she invited all these people to stay over in the house. Very strange. Only Rav Nachman. So Nachman said, interesting, both stories happened to Rav Nachman. He had a wife who was a very tough woman. A really tough woman. Started the whole shas with his wife, and she was a tough cookie. And so therefore, maybe this personal experience that he's venting on these people that he said, don't believe her. They said it's never achav. She must have met somebody else. He's trying to get out of this marriage. There was a person that he was alone in the house with this woman. Alone in the house and the door was locked. Suddenly the husband came home. Before he broke through the wooden picket fence, or it was made out of different little twigs, and he ran away. But he ran away. So now the husband would notice that somebody was there, and obviously be very suspicious with his wife. So Omar Rava said, I believe it's a shayah. Definitely nothing happened untoward between him and her, between this man and his wife. Why do I say that? Let me ask you a question. Psychologically, if this man was living in sin with this guy's wife, his married wife, a married woman, because he American, why would he make it so obvious that there's another stranger there? He would have hidden in a closet somewhere and wait till the husband goes home. Another day, obviously, middle of work, the husband came pick up his lunch or something. He wait till the husband leaves the house and then continue. The fact that he ran out in the middle, now he made it with the husband away. There's another guy there. Now the husband will be very suspicious. What made to come back again? He said, there's nothing happened. Now it says in the Shem, even if something happened, it wouldn't be usher because there's no witnesses, there's no kini, there's no stated. But in a site, you have warning. There has to be witnesses that they were alone. Here we have nothing. Everyone discusses the little places that nobody understands, and the only way they understand it is by changing the words completely around. That's not really what Taisha is saying. I'll just show you the Taisha. Taisha's second line in the wide line. Taisha says, "Parte noyev lahaitze va'arak." And he broke through the hutzah. He broke through the hutzah to the that fence, that figure fence, and va'arak he fled. Kloimer, parata mechitza v'yotz. He broke through the mechitza, this partition, and he fled. Kach kosta b'svarim. Uba aruch pirish, but the aruch says, "The havi noyev habal va'arak habal." That in fact he wasn't interested in take literally the aruch. He wasn't interested in the married woman. He was interested in the husband. And the husband fled. What happened here? What's going on here?
Why does he have to run away?
He's a married man, and is a mishkav zacher, or what's going on with it? No. It says noyev habal. What does noyev habal mean? That he was desirous of the husband, and the arak habal, the husband ran away. What's going on here? So nobody. You see different letters there. Everyone's trying to give different structure. I mean, basically, they changed the whole wording around and change it to how Gemara would work. That's not what the Aruch says. So it'll be interesting to know what the Aruch actually, his interpretation of what happened here. Anyway, heading on further. Now, the Gemara is going to conclude with a story And the Ritva writes, what we spoke about yesterday, but it's a Ritva, that you have to weigh up to make life for a gun as easy as possible, because the biggest Rahmanis, they're like jail forever. And the husbands are Russia for do whatever he's doing, versus the institution of marriage. Because if you undermine, weaken the institution of marriage to enable a guna, then is the cost too great? Okay, and that's what you have to weigh up. Now, generally, if you speak to somebody who's married, they understand how important institutional marriage is. If you speak to somebody who either is going through the guna thing or who has a friend who's going through the guna thing, they're going to say, "Oh, Rachmanis, it is Rachmanis." So that is the dilemma that Chacham have, and that is what how do we go through this? Believe the woman, don't believe the woman. So they are very worried about institutional marriage. The Gemara is going to finish off with a story again about a very interesting psychological debate. But it's odd that the Gemara should end the Masechta with such a story. Usually you try to end with the Teish. It says in a few places in Shas. So we're like, why do we finish? I think we're going to finish with David Teiv. What the David Teiv in this story is, you have to work it out. We'll leave it in the Drush. Yeah, I'm going to leave it behind the last line because I need to use it for a seal. But let's continue the Gemara. Ahu Noyif. There was this Noyif, this person who was an adulterer. The Ol Legabe Dahi Itse came to visit this woman that he was having an affair with. Asa Gavra, the husband came home unannounced. Salik Noyif, so the Noyif, went and disappeared. And Asa Bikala, he went behind the curtain by the door so the husband shouldn't notice him. Baba, habe machten tachli tamon. Right there next to where he was, there was some watercress, food that the husband was eating. The Tamina Chavia, and he saw that this adulterer saw a snake, a poisonous, venomous snake, eating from that watercress, which means he might have left behind some of his saliva, some of that poison, and if somebody eats it, their lives are in danger. Boy, mother the the husband then wanted to eat. I guess he came home siesta, he wanted to eat lunch, and he took some of that watercress to eat, without the woman being aware. Because the wife might have also noticed there was a snake there, and she would have stopped him. So she wasn't aware, or she wasn't aware that there was a snake. All of a sudden, the guy popped out. This adulterer popped out from the curtain and said, hey, don't eat it, because your life will be in danger. Don't eat from it. Why? A snake just ate from it, and it is dangerous. So the question now is, and the wife was alone with the husband and everything else, do we suspect that the wife is committed, especially if he's a kohen? That's it, he should no longer live together with her or not? And remember, we learned before that if the husband believes her, even if there's no, even halacha said you don't believe her, if the husband believes her, he's not living. Even though we learned some people say if he shouldn't believe her. Interesting idea that he's not allowed to believe his wife. Shalom bayis is so important that even though you know your wife is truthful and you look at your wife, you see she's quite genuine, don't believe her so that you can stay married together and live with shalom bayis. And if Amar Rav Zerov, in to say shaya that his wife is mutter to this person. Why? Because if it's true that this man desires this guy's wife, and now look at this wonderful opportunity, a God-given gift. This guy's going to eat from the watercress. He's going to die, and that's it. There's a woman for you available all the time. Why in the world would you reveal it to him? Why would you save his life? Obviously, there's nothing going on between you and her. It needs to happen. So be happy for the person to eat and to die. As the pasuk says, it says in the pasuk that kinafu, those people, what do you call? Kinoifus haim. The pasuk says for those people who are noifus, who are lecherous, is v'dam b'dein, have blood on their hands, because no, it leads to murder. That's what happens. Isn't obvious? It's such an obvious thing that he saves the guy's life. Obviously, nothing's happened to him and his wife. No, I'm going to stop right before the last passage. I would have thought psychologically, the other way around. He wants the husband to live. Because this guy is cheating or she's cheating, it's the adrenaline rush that there's a husband there and she's forbidden to you, and yet you're having some kind of relationship. You feel a certain sense of triumph. It's more than just desiring this particular woman. You'd rather have her married, and that's what's coming from. So therefore, you would have thought that proves nothing. Maybe Taka, she's a married woman, and maybe Taka, they are having an affair, but he wants the husband to live. make it more exciting. He did have a niece. The Nichele was Baal. Why did he tell him? Because he'd rather have the husband not die, to live. He wants a woman to be married to him. He wants to have him with a married woman. And the mother reads a pasuk, so somebody here can read it and finish. Somebody read the pasuk.
Oh,
I don't want to finish. Yeah.
Ma'am Genuben, Im Takur, Belechem, Satarim, Yinam.
Stolen water is always sweet, and some people like dafka doing. Anyway, that finishes Masechta Nedarim. Very interesting that this should be the conclusion of Masechta Nedarim. Yeah, it's very strange because you always want to end with a Davar Toiv. What's so good about this? What's so good about this? And maybe what's so good about this is that how important Shalom Bayis is, because Rava saved the marriage. What did Rava do here? Rava said, no, there's nothing wrong here. You can continue living with your wife. Nothing happened between him and her. He just saved the marriage. And Shalom Bayis is so important that he said, what he said. That's what the Gemara is finishing off. Maybe that's Pshat in the Gemara. But no one talks about it. I mean, this is such an odd thing. This should be the conclusion of the Masechta.
It's also showing that Rahmanis is greater than mine.
But that the Gemara doesn't say that.
Well, by Psak, it's saying that.
So you think that the pity for somebody else is more important to him than his own life?
As much as the mind movement is pleasurable, at the end of the day, it's saving the other person.
Very good.
That's right.
Very good. I like Shalom Bayis better, but very good. Because we're going to learn Seitis, which is all about Shalom Bayis. But very good. Okay. We have two possible explanations here why the Gemara included the story. But what needs to be explained is how none of the Shainim or Achrayim talk about it. None that I've seen. And
Alter Rebbe was about Masami the Davar Toiv.
yeah, but it comes from Taisus and Yavamas. Why we suddenly finish, Atika Banach. Interesting. Okay, have a good day, everybody.